Lakers in the finals.
Did you
Apparently,
scare them?
I yelled a little too loud yesterday.
Did they both flee, or what happened?
Actually, I don't even know if they were around. Molly almost fled, though.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's some loud yelling.
Yeah, I didn't even. It was random too. I was just like, "Go get the ball! Like, get the fucking ball! Like, go do it!"
Mine are really random too. I'm just like, I'm either I'll just like curse or I'll say something sarcastic. Like I'm just like, fuck. So we're not going to rebound in the finals. All I want is a rebound in the finals. And I'm just like, rebound.
Like we can simplify this.
Yeah, I'm like, of all the times I want you to rebound in the finals would be great. I'm just like pissed off.
Well, yesterday's game was just getting underneath my damn skin. I don't know that I've ever, like, it's been a while since I've been like that last night, because when it's 2-1 in the finals and we had no business even taking the court in game 3, because it was,
that's what I heard,
you know, a lackluster, borderline embarrassing performance to just come out there and like not really seem focused, not really have any determination, not really have, almost look like they didn't really have a plan, which is getting to the overall point of they didn't really seem like they wanted to be there.
Yeah. Now, do you think it's because, like, I don't know, I've noticed just being like watching them like long term that they tend, and even it doesn't matter like what players or coaches, but for some reason they tend to sometimes get comfortable, and then like when they're winning too much, they'll get comfortable, and it's like this weird little pattern. And so I was really nervous about game 3. I wasn't able to even watch it, which I was already like, fuck, Jake's superstition is gonna kill me, because this is the one game I didn't watch and they lost. Which, side note to superstition, I also found, I have this like Vikings mug, and it was missing for the longest time. Well, I found it underneath my couch when I was cleaning, and so I put it where it's supposed to go, and then they won. So I was like, oh, I wonder if it's the cup. I don't know.
Now having a cup of coffee, a cup of Joe, a cup of tea, whatever it is.
Just put it in the Vikings cup. I know, for real. But yeah, I noticed like it's a pattern that they'll sometimes when they win too much, they get too comfortable. That's why like I can't even really celebrate when they win too much, especially in like a playoffs or a series situation, because they do that. But do you think that's what it is, or do you think it was like something else? Like,
I think, yeah, after watching them all season, you know, and this is a team that was created on the fly.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's not too often, you know, chemistry is a real thing. And so like for people who think they can just like assemble a team of like all-stars and great players, Clippers, you know, for people who think they can just assemble a team of individual talent and put it out there and go win a championship off that, there's a thing called chemistry. I wasn't smart enough to take it in school, but the kids who did, you know, said, yeah, there's something to it. It really matters. And so watching this team develop their chemistry all season long, whenever they did get complacent, when they were playing the Minnesotas of the world, the Charlottes, you know, they kind of want to coast, you know, and like, and that's kind of the DNA too of a veteran team, you know, like you pick your spots, and especially over the course of 82 games. But, you know, so like if they think it's too easy, if they think like they're not stimulated enough, whatever the case, you know, it seems like that's where the letdown is. And historically in playoffs, like the better team, the higher seed, they win their first 2 games at home, let's just say. And it's almost like inevitable they're going to lose that first game on the road for whatever reason. Like, I don't know if they need to just get that first blow and get that first uppercut right to the chin to be like, okay, that's how it feels. Okay.
We don't like that.
Don't really like that. That's how it feels. Maybe it wasn't that bad. We'll make our adjustments. And then game 4, they're back to kind of being there the way it should be. But I would just think like, you know, they want to get the fuck out of the bubble because they want to get back home. Like, you know, psychologically, we don't know what this is doing to these players. Like, yeah, everyone can say, you know, they're at Disney World and, they get to be at a resort and all that stuff. They've been there since early July and they haven't been able to leave unless you're Lou Williams on the Clippers. And, have to go get some chicken wings or something.
Yeah, really. Clippers messing it up.
Yeah, let your imagination take course of what that or something maybe.
Yeah, for real. But, we all know what's going on and what that means. But yeah, you're right. And actually, some Clippers fans, some that may even be listening right now, they kind of, I feel like, at least like from seeing social media and reviews, like some of them do kind of think maybe Clippers threw it in their playoffs to get out of the bubble. Do you think that's the case, or do you think that? I mean, I'm sure it's a possibility, but do you think that's the case, or not even Clippers, but maybe any other team throughout this bubble situation? It's tough to say, really.
I don't think so. I think, the Clippers, they lost a 3-1 lead, and in those games that they, that Denver, game 5 and 6 and even 7, like Clippers had leads. They had a 16-point lead, a 19-point lead. I'm not going in order. I forget what games those were attached to, but they had leads and just like couldn't close it out. And I heard, they weren't getting along. Again, chemistry issues on the court, chemistry issues in the locker room can maybe supersede, chemistry issues on the court. You don't like each other. You don't believe in each other. Like, all those cliches, like it does fucking matter. And
for sure.
But yeah, I mean, the Lakers are the only veteran team that has, actually put together a good playoff run in the bubble. Like Bucks couldn't do it. Rockets couldn't do it. Clippers obviously couldn't do it. And so,
we gotta be proud of that.
If that's their out, because that's all I keep hearing is like, well, Lakers were lucky to dodge the Clippers. Like, in what aspect?
Yeah. Interesting. You heard that, huh? I mean,
it was like the veteran teams that everyone said all season long were better than the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Bucks. Like, I'm sorry, we're now beating their ass. Like we're beating Denver's ass, who beat the Clippers and knocked them out. We're up 3-1 on Miami, who knocked out Milwaukee. Like, so those two teams, Milwaukee and Clippers, were supposed to give us the biggest challenge to get this ring. Couldn't even wiststand the younger teams.
It's been surprisingly smooth for the Lakers, and I just I'm not used to it. I'm used to us being bad. There was just a brief period where we were kind of bad, but now we're good again, and I just I can't even believe it. It's so
good. And you can say smooth. I don't know. Again, we're one of the only contenders who lost, had a rotational player opt out, Avery Bradley.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The things that we've had about it, there was a game that was protested against, and we that could have disrupted so much more than just just one game getting canceled, and then just having to overcome Kobe.
Yeah.
Which that's going to be the biggest thing on Friday. I'm trying, there's so many things swirling in my mind about what this is going to mean if we win this championship on Friday. Cause it's so many layers, man.
So many layers of this whole season. That's just weighing down on this whole franchise, and then this team. And then it is a new team. You're right. That was thrown together. So that's kind of weird too. It's their chemistry hasn't been building for seasons and seasons, but Molly, say stuff too. I would love for your input. Honestly, I would love your input. Please.
Somewhat.
What do you think? You think the Clippers basically rigged the series against Denver, in such a way where they lost on purpose to get out of the bubble?
No, I wouldn't say that they rigged it on purpose. I just think that they lacked team chemistry, and that's what ended up meaning the most in the bubble. I don't know if that plays such a role when you're in front of a large crowd and you're in front of your fans. Then I think you have enough chemistry from them that you can thrive off of. But when all you have are your teammates in that bubble, I think that's where them lacking chemistry really played a role, because watching that game, Denver just had the chemistry that the Clippers were lacking. And I think that's what mattered at the very end for them to be able to pull that series off.
Yeah, I agree, because that's the thing. Like, you're around each other. There's no escaping each other. You can't go home to your families and I'll see this guy tomorrow, or I don't have to see him on the plane, or we go our separate ways. Like, it's not really the case.
Yeah, get a break from each other. Usually.
You're doing one giant summer camp.
However, it seems like, Molly touched on it and you touched on it, that other teams, including Lakers being one of them, were able to maintain the chemistry in the bubble. I know every team's a little different, but it just goes to show, I think I think it's just emphasized now that there's no audience. But that's an interesting point too. Maybe the audience, I kind of underestimate the audience and the crowd and how that plays a part in chemistry, or just maybe performance overall too. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I didn't really like Scottie Pippen's comments recently saying that this is all just pickup basketball. There's no travel, there's no crowd, there's no I don't know. He had a couple other points, and I'm like, that's all fair. Look, for people who want to talk about putting an asterisk or diminishing what the Lakers may accomplish on Friday, it's every championship team has its own path, its own journey, and its own obstacles. Are we telling me Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors would have won last year had Kevin Durant got hurt? No. Would they even won if Klay Thompson got hurt? No, they wouldn't have won. But now we forget all that and we glorify Kawhi Leonard, and he's gotten all these got to pick his teammate, even though it's tampering, but got to go out and just I want Paul George, and they go and move the sun and the earth for him. Yeah. And they get Paul George. He was under contract. How does that happen? And then you have and then he wants to load I only want to play every 3 games and then take a game off or whatever. How did that work out for you?
Oh yeah, that was weird.
Because again, another way that you use to build chemistry. Yeah. And it's but anyway, no one talks about that. They just talk about Kawhi being a champion, right?
To add, it also doesn't help when they're getting special treatment where their other teammates aren't. They were able to rest. They were able to take games off as they see fit. There was rumors circling that they were getting better treatment from the trainers. They were getting special treatment inside the locker room. So that also plays such a toll with the chemistry, where you have Kawhi Leonard signing with this team, but he's saying, well, they're not good enough for me though. So let me go and bring in my own people, which is tampering. Yeah. See, he brings in Paul George, and all of a sudden him and Paul George get this special treatment when the rest of those Clippers players have at least been there for the last season, and they're all of a sudden not good enough.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Not good enough to get the same treatment, obviously, as all of a sudden these new guys, these new superstars on our team, and it creates resentment.
Yeah, absolutely. And they sounds like they just shot themselves in the foot chemistry-wise, because, that's going to play a huge role. That's favoritism. Now, just real quick, you mentioned the word tampering a lot, and just for those of us that may be new to sports, how would you define tampering in the sense of NBA and teams?
Yeah, so when you're under contract, you're not allowed to be pursued.
Okay. Can't be pursued at all. Yeah. Okay. So you're off the market.
Does it happen? Yes. But that's shit that's supposed to kind of be underground, behind closed doors, everything like that. And so the Lakers, who got fined multiple times because Magic Johnson's just more of an ambassador when he was our president of basketball operations. Yeah. If he even was oh yeah, Paul George, we like him, wink, tampering. Because it's he's throwing it out there hey, Paul George, we like you as a player. You're throwing a pitch out there in a way. Yeah. Trying to pitch him to come when he's under contract. You can't do that. again,
crazy.
it happens. But what's crazy is like Paul George had just got to the Thunder, and it was overnight, basically. I felt like that Kawhi Leonard, once he decided he was coming to the Clippers, was like, well, basically he decided he was coming to the Clippers, like, I want to come to the Clippers and I want Paul George with me. You can't just like go and hand pick and craft like anybody you want. It doesn't work that way. There's
Especially one that's under contract, like you said. Like,
exactly.
how does that
Everyone will
happen?
be like, whoa, LeBron, when he took Dwayne Wade and Bosh to Miami, they were all free agents. And
big difference.
that's when the tampering, for lack of a better term, the tampering like zone or parameter, they're lifted. Like,
yeah.
And so, you're able to talk amongst yourselves and stuff like that. They're all three of them were free agents. So
there's the big difference right there then,
There's a big difference, man. So, I mean, circling all this back around to the Lakers, though, for people who want to like maybe diminish or dismiss what they are able to potentially accomplish on Friday, every team needs a little bit of luck, and every team has their own path. Like Tom Brady wouldn't have won his first Super Bowl because the second playoff or the second round, I think if I remember correctly, Tom Brady had a bye that year and they were playing the Raiders in the snow. It was Tom Brady's like first time in the playoffs and everything like that. And Tom Brady goes back to pass and gets hit while and before trying to make his pass. And he fumbles the ball, or the ball comes loose, I should say. My opinion, it was a fumble. Oakland would have recovered that fumble. And I'd have to go back to like the actual game scenario, like what would have happened or whatever, but it's historically known as like the Tuck rule. Like they created a rule based off that because like they essentially gift wrapped a playoff game that Oakland Raiders should have won to Tom Brady and the Patriots. And then we know they went on to win the Super Bowl, and then he developed that championship pedigree. And then Tom Brady, the legend, now exists, but it's like,
and would that was called a pass interference instead of a fumble at that time? And that's why.
No, it was called like they were saying his arm was coming forward when the ball actually came out of his hand before it was coming forward. So it was in other words, it was a fumble. It wasn't an incomplete pass.
Got it.
They got lucky. So what I'm trying to say though is that every team has a little bit of luck on their way to a champion. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, but like every team has a little bit of luck, and every team has a different path to get to where they are. It's not the Lakers' fucking fault that the Clippers didn't have their shit together and weren't good enough to even be in the same round where we were going to spank them like we were their dad, So
seriously. And
so
that's
we didn't
sports.
get that opportunity. Yeah, we didn't get that opportunity with Milwaukee so that LeBron could show everybody he was about to punish Giannis,
Yeah. But that's how the brackets go. It's like you have to
and honestly, like,
to that level. They didn't.
Yeah, we can play the what if game all day long.
And people love to do it. They love to do it.
Yeah, but the Lakers were disadvantaged, I would say, because they were the number one seed in the West, fighting for home court advantage, and then boom, like now you have to play at a neutral site. Otherwise we would have had home court advantage maybe throughout the playoffs. Well, we would have had it throughout the West, but maybe wouldn't have had it against Milwaukee. They had a better record than us at the time. But if you play out the regular season, who knows what happens, So here we were going to have home court advantage, and then it was reduced to, we're playing in a neutral site without our fans, without our home court advantage.
Which is an advantage we did not have. Like
pretty damn good advantage.
Quite literally.
And so that was a blow to us. Avery Bradley opting out, that was a blow to us. Rajon Rondo getting hurt at the start of the bubble, that was a blow to us. having to
COVID
deal
is
with.
also a blow too. We don't, again, that bubble, like you said, we don't know what is how that's affecting them, and there could be a lot of negative effects. And the Lakers aren't immune to that. They're
And
struggling.
we're a
with
veteran,
that too.
we're a veteran team. Like guys are married, have kids, like
Yes.
and their kids weren't able to be there, and wives and stuff. That's super important. Weren't able to be there. Like your inner circle's not able to be there. Like the people that you after games, if you had a tough one or whatever the case is, like you go and decompress with your inner circle, and that wasn't able to exist. And like so psychologically, like I don't care that you're at the same resort and it's Mickey Mouse. Like
right. If your family's not there and you're worried, then
exactly.
you're not happy.
Exactly. So and then having to deal with, the games getting protested against, and, for the social issues and everything like that. So it's just been one thing after another. And all the Lakers could do is go out and play and try to beat whatever and whoever's in front of you. And that's what they're doing. And so I don't want to hear anyone diminish or try to put an asterisk. People will, because it's LeBron. If the Clippers would have won, it would have been like,
Lakers.
Yeah, they were the better team and they knocked off LeBron, and who's the new team in LA. But since it's the Lakers and it's LeBron, it's like, well, I mean, God, it's like blah, 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 blah.
Pretty much. It really reveals, I forget that people really do hate the Lakers. That's okay, but they do. And you really see it when we're winning again, like you really see when we're losing, people seem to be really excited about that. But
yeah, I've been taking on daily, it seems like, the mics at work. Shout out to Mike's at work. If you have any colleagues named Mike, if your name's Mike, this is for you. Mike's at work.
What up, Mike? Guys?
Always having to check their ass into a perspective that somehow just completely evades their mind, because it's like all they want to do is hate on LeBron, and that's all they want to do. It's like
totally.
They're like, oh, even this morning it was like, could LeBron cry anymore about foul calls? I'm like, did you not, like, go look at the stats, man. They're actually for free for everyone to view if you were so inclined. And you can see the free throw disparity, especially leading into the fourth quarter. Did it balance out a little bit better? Yes. But like, my fucking gosh, what do we, like, Anthony Davis's face has to be red and swelled up for them to be like, oh shit, I think, did you get bumped, man?
Oh my gosh, like, AD got
his ass got slapped.
Last game. What the heck?
His ass got slapped and shouldered, and like his face was just like, looked like 90s boxing match with Mike Tyson.
Gosh, I know. It's like, I didn't know Mike Tyson played against us tonight, sneaking in little punches. I swear, I remember he got poked in the eye. He was like on his ass at one point. I didn't even see, he was like entangled with Caruso on the floor at one point.
And that's the only thing,
gonna die.
Yeah, that's the only thing with Davis sometimes, where I'm like, man, I just, like, you're super good, obviously, and I don't know, I'm not in his body, so I don't know the punishment, but it's just like, you're just on the floor at least 4 times a game, just kind of like writhing in pain, and I'm like, bro, like.
Well, I fell for it last night. I was like, oh my gosh, he's hurt. He's fucking hurt. And I was like freaking out. And then he just
that's probably what it is, because he scares the shit out of me. And I'm just like, every time he jumps up to just take a regular jump shot, and I'm like, bro, are you going to come down okay? Like, your ankle's not going to pop out of your ear, right? Like, I mean.
For real, I am. You're so right, because I was super confused because he was writhing in pain, and I was like, oh my gosh, we lost him. He's done. And then like little commercial break or a little timeout, and he's like shaking off his ankle and running back, and I'm like, oh, okay, you just scared the shit out of me for nothing. Like, literally.
But being around LeBron and being on this type of team where like it matters, it means something, because you're playing meaningful basketball games. Like, to actually carve out a legacy, I feel like has really helped his psyche in terms of his toughness, because I feel like on the Pelicans, it's just like, yeah, I'm kind of banged and battered up. Like, I'm gonna take tonight off type of thing, or I'm gonna like let my body just heal or whatever. And it's like LeBron's like, no, you're gonna get your ass into my hyperbolic chamber. We're gonna turn this bitch down to sub-zero.
Gosh,
And
I
you don't
know.
have to stay in an ice bath for like, 8 to 12 minutes. You're gonna do this hyperbolic chamber for about, 2 minutes and 15 seconds, and that should reduce swelling, and then go get a massage, and then get your ass to sleep and eat a banana and wake up feeling
Potassium is key to a good basketball game. But wait, what's a hyperbolic chamber? Is that where you do the that freeze therapy or whatever? Cryotherapy? Or is that something?
It's something, yeah, I don't know all the details to it. It's something like you literally go into, and it's like you're in like sub-zero weather or sub-zero temperature, and like it's supposed to reduce inflammation in your body. It's supposed to allow for a quicker recovery for your body. I know it's supposed to like make you sleep a little bit better.
Like score monitoring, and was very excited. Are the Texans like easy to beat? Or I mean, I'm glad we won, but are they easy to beat?
on paper they have a stud quarterback, Deshaun Watson, but us beating them actually, like the next day they fired their coach.
Really?
But it's Houston's fault. They had Bill O'Brien as the coach in a dual role, the coach and the GM. Yeah, anytime you put a coach in a dual role with so he's being the coach and the GM, it's just that job it's impossible to do. But anyway, since the Vikings didn't look very good the first 3 weeks, I'm like, shit, let's just lose then. Let's tank, try to get Trevor Lawrence out of Clemson for our new quarterback. Love you, Kirk Cousins, but you're just good enough to be a starter, and we all know that. And so my hashtag, if you will, was losing for Lawrence.
Losing for
Lawrence.
Hashtag
Losing for Lawrence.
Lose for if you're gonna lose for Lawrence. Now, do you think that's the best tactic for Vikings right now, or do you think it's still early in the season where they could?
No, because we beat Houston. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I want this. Feels good.
I know.
Let's keep it up. But now we play Seahawks, and we always play in Seattle.
Oh gosh,
they're incapable of coming out to Minnesota. They I don't know.
Seriously, we're playing them in Seattle again? Have we ever played in Minnesota against them ever?
We did one time, and Blair Walsh missed like a 2-yard field goal to lose the playoff game. Remember that? I felt real good.
Jake, you know how I feel about Blair Walsh. Okay, I'm sorry. If Blair Walsh ever listens to this, you just really broke my heart many times, and I'm emotional.
Blair Walsh, you had me in the fetal position pretty good on 4.5 days. I called out sick.
I had shit to do those days, bro. I mean, Blair Walsh.
Yeah. I was on the freaking ice chip and yogurt diet because I didn't have an appetite. My voice was hoarse. My skin was pale.
Well, I checked into a mental institution and then came out, changed my name to Lois Einhorn. Okay, that's how bad it made me feel. So.
Laces are out. They're out.
Keep them out, for fuck's sake. Oh my God. It's not that hard. So now you're saying to not lose for Lawrence, but let's just keep winning. I think the Vikings just needed a strategy, and I think now their strategy is to win, right? That's what we decided.
Look, we're going to lose to Seattle. And then I'll be losing for Lawrence after that. And then we play some team called Atlanta Dirty Birds.
Schmalkins. Okay, Schmalkins.
Yeah.
You know who you are as to why. Actually, let's remind everyone why would Vikings have a disdain for the Atlanta Falcons? You taught me this.
It's more like a giant ass.
Oh shit.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of the most accurate way I can describe it.
Giant ass.
It's kind of like a tattooed knife into your sports soul.
think we call that sports trauma in the biz. It's traumatic
There's
experience.
some trauma there. It takes you down. It takes you down. In Beauty and the Beast when the old man is riding the horse, Philippe, and they're going on their journey, and he shows the horse like, wait, I think it's this way, and she looks, and it's a dark, dreary, ominous looking route, and then she looks the other way, and it's like, okay, that's a road. There's some light.
More well lit.
Yeah.
A water guy.
The Falcons, I always take the first stated route. That always makes me walk into the fog, into melancholy.
Damn. That's bad.
Now, I will say the Falcons' new jerseys are pretty damn sweet, so that's going for them. I will say the Falcons being up 28-3 in the Super Bowl and then losing in overtime to Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Probably kind of made up for some of that. But anytime I play the Falcons, I'm like, I just want to take a giant, steamy drop-in of kids on their life.
All over their lives, really, because they did. I mean, you told me what happened, and what year was that? 90. Let's see if I remember.
98.
98.
98. We went 15-1. Our only loss was the Buccaneers. We went 15-1. We were the best offense up until that point. Like, we were the best offense ever assembled.
Really?
Randy Moss was a rookie, and it's really the real reason I became a Viking fan.
Oh,
Because he was just unbelievable, and the real reason I was a wide receiver. And our
truth is all coming out.
Kicker hadn't missed a kick all game. All season.
Oh God, which never happens with Vikings ever.
Yeah.
My lifetime anyway.
And all he had to do was kick I don't know, maybe it was a 48-yarder. It was definitely, it was Gary Anderson. He was an all-pro that season. He was definitely more than capable. And like Ray Finkel, the laces were out.
Were they or were they? Whose fault was it really?
They were in. They were in.
Yeah. And that's all it takes to.
But what would I know about pressure?
Or laces for that matter.
And we lost in overtime.
Wow. Wait, was that the playoffs?
We went to that Super Bowl and beat the shit out of the Broncos.
Ooh.
But we never got that opportunity, so I kind of can't even say that because we weren't good enough to get there.
Molly's not there, is she? For some context, listeners, Molly is a Broncos fan. So what he just said, I'm surprised I didn't get a reaction. She must not be there. Are you alone?
I think she's trying to break up a wrestling match.
Oh gosh, there's cats. They're pretty spry for 8 years old. Oh man, well that's unfortunate and one of the worst stories I've ever heard about.
Yeah, so Falcon Week will be the week after, our yearly annual trip to Seattle that will always continue to make, it feels like, because schedule makers are just incapable of, I don't know, balancing it out. They should just hand that duty to me.
Seriously.
What I do with it.
Oh damn, I know. Well, yeah, we're going through as Vikings, we're going through I guess the bird phase of our schedule. We've got the Seahawks and then the Falcons. Are we playing Eagles pretty soon, or what's happening?
Shit, I wish. They're all hurt, but who knows?
Eagles, yeah, who knows?
Like, now there's a little bit of perspective. All of a sudden, Aaron Rodgers, the last 2 years, he looked like he was like maybe on the beginning of the end, and then they go and draft a quarterback in the first round. Not only just draft a quarterback, but trade up to draft a quarterback. And all of a sudden that just lit a fuse of like burning hot white intensity flame under Aaron Rodgers. Now, it was like, man, so you were kind of mad at the front office for Green Bay, the coach. It's like, you had to piss him off, didn't you? You just had to fucking piss him off because now he's just on a tear and out to prove something. And he looks incredible, and Green Bay looks incredible. And obviously that doesn't taste well, but it's the truth. And
Tastes
so
like old
we lose to
Wisconsin
Green Bay at
cheese.
home. Yeah, we lose to Green Bay at home. And then the Colts, they actually have now the best defense in the league over the first quarter of the season. And then Titans, we could have fucking won that game. And, in typical Viking fashion, we do a choke job. But some things bounce here or there, and we could have won that game. So, I mean, if anything, we could be 2-2 right now, not 1-3.
So
Anyway, we're going to lose to Seattle. Atlanta, it's not like Atlanta's a bad team. They're just they just can't, they're kind of like Philly. They can't stay healthy, man. Just can't stay healthy. Granted, we're not we really need Danielle Hunter. Anthony Barr is out for the season. Michael Pierce, our prize nose tackle that we signed from the Ravens, he opted not to play for, because of COVID and shit. So, we're down. So Michael Pierce, we're down. Anthony Barr and Danielle Hunter's a game changer. I thought Yannick Ngakwe would have been our new addition from Jacksonville that we traded for. I thought he would have had a little bit of a bigger role in terms of being a playmaker, but I don't know.
Sorry, can you say his name one more time?
Yeah, Yannick Ngakwe.
Okay, that's a badass name. I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm not gonna try and say.
But we look to be getting better every week, shall I say? And Dalvin Cook's just on a tear.
Yes.
Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that perhaps we just lost to some really good teams. I mean, Titans were in the AFC Championship game last year.
True.
I'm sure you heard about it from a family member over that time. And
unprompted.
Green Bay was in the NFC Championship game a year ago, and Indy appears to have gotten a lot better by having the best defense over the first quarter of the season. So we lost to them too. So we've lost to some pretty good teams, and now we're playing Seattle. Russell Wilson, that's another good team. We're going to lose to them, and so that puts us at 1-4, and then maybe our schedule softens up. I really haven't looked past Atlanta.
So how do you feel about Atlanta? What do you think prediction-wise? Do you think?
I think they're better than what they're showing. They're just decimated by injuries.
Yeah. So do you think because of their injury bug right now, we have a shot at beating them when we play on that Sunday?
Yes, because it's at home. Yes.
Do you think we should beat him? Like the matchup should align where Vikings have a victory? Okay.
Yes, you should have one angry Jaybird after that game.
And I really hope to. All I'm asking.
But I mean, this is all predicated on if the NFL can even survive, because everyone, Titans are testing positive still, and they're throwing off the whole schedule. Like some of the Patriots tested positive.
The Titans don't help when they are told they can't have practice because of so many positive tests. So then they go to a local high school and decide to have their own practice, thinking they're not going to get caught up.
Is that what happened? What? I didn't know that. They did their own little practice.
Yeah, I don't know which players. They didn't say which players. They didn't say if it was players that had tested positive, but they had to shut down the facility last week. And it was supposed to be their bye week, and they were photographed at a local high school hosting a illegal practice according to the NFL. So there's going to be some heavy violations, and there's some rumors going around that this might be a really heavy, what's the word?
Like punishment?
Yeah, a really heavy punishment.
I think they're going to lose draft picks.
They want to set a precedent.
Well, yeah, because you're jeopardizing the whole league, and this is billions of dollars. Like the amount of money networks pay to get the NFL product on their network, like they sit there and bid, and it's like billions, and it's a shit ton of money. And all these little, stupid, selfish, invincible decisions they're making. It's like putting billions upon billions of dollars at stake. And so yeah, the NFL is going to come down with a hammer. But I mean, I hope the season survives. Obviously, like we need and want football. But man, it's starting to feel like it's spiraling a little bit.
Just in terms of like the pandemic and the rules and all that.
Yeah, just COVID's really like affecting this team and then this team, and it's just, it's it feels like it's starting to have a hand in whether or not, like, I think if you can finish the NFL season, then that'll be a really, really big accomplishment.
Yeah, just
plus with all the injuries, like granted injuries happen every year. That's something it's going to happen regardless, but there's so many more because they couldn't have a full training camp during the time period that they usually do. They couldn't have preseason games. No matter how much as fans we don't care for the preseason games, they get the players ready for the NFL season. Like we're seeing so many injuries that's so detrimental to these players and their health. That's just on top of the COVID. Like obviously coming from a Bronco fan that has one of the most injuries in the NFL, I'm like, no, I'm done with this season. We should have never played. But of course, my team was 4-0. I'm like, no, this season's cool. We're good. So it's tough. But you look at all the COVID situations, everything that's happening right now among the NFL, plus all the injuries. You can't help but wonder, like, shoot, was this a good idea? Should they have had a season? Because baseball teams, they don't have 53-man rosters. NBA doesn't have 53-man rosters. Like football has so many players compared to other sports. It's just a lot more lives at risk.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, I mean, you don't realize, you think preseason's just, I don't know, to maybe like rack up more tickets or just kind of see how everyone's doing, of course. But like, you know, I never realized like that because, I mean, it's such a physical sport, one of the most physical sports out there. And that makes a huge difference, these preseason games, to like just get your body ready for all that physicality.
Yeah, start building up those calluses and to take those hits and everything like that. And
so that makes a lot of sense as to why now there's, extra injuries on top of, just trying to prevent COVID, and now COVID is affecting some of the players. Yeah. So it's a hot mess, to be real, but we'll see.
Man. It's thrown off schedules and everything like that, because it's like, oh, this team can't play. Like this team has it, so then they can't play. Like Titans couldn't play the Steelers this past week, and Steelers like, man, like we didn't do anything, but because our opponent, our team we're playing has it, like we can't fucking play now.
Yeah, dude, it affects everyone. I thought Vikings were, very at risk. They just played the Titans, so I was really nervous about that.
Seriously.
But gosh, it's unfortunate no matter who gets it, and that's it's just scary. It's just real scary.
Weird world, man.
Okay, well now back to the NBA finals. So what do you think for this last game? Obviously we're Laker fans, so we'll address that first. How do you think, or like, what do you think Lakers have to keep doing and change to win this victory? And then what do you think the Heat have to do also to win the victory? We'll give them that too, but like strength.
Yeah, the Heat, their adjustments made in game 3 and 4 are just so solid. I mean, Eric Spoelstra is a really good, underrated coach. He learned, like, he's under Pat Riley's tutelage. So like, Pat Riley, I don't care what anyone says, he's a Laker.
Yeah.
He coached Showtime. He was kind of the architect of that dominance in the 80s and having that grit. People, when we lose to Boston in the 80s, like people were like, oh, LA's soft, they're West Coast, they're California, they're laid back, going against Boston, which is like blue collar, in your face, East Coast, this and that. And Pat Riley was like, no, fuck you. Like, and Pat Riley, he's from New York and he's Italian and like, so he definitely instilled toughness. Like, it wasn't just like, we're not glitz and glamour. Like, we can be gritty too.
Yeah.
So that's obviously came with him to Miami, because Miami plays really hard. Like last night was such a finals game. I don't care if it look like we were going to pick up gym or there wasn't a crowd or whatever. Like that was a finals game. And which is why I had the emotion that I had, because we're at 2-1, so much is at stake. And like that was anyone's game for the taking. And really Miami shouldn't even be that close to us because of the star power that we have. But that just goes to show what a really good team can do, and like a really well-coached team and a really well-ran organization can do. They made the necessary adjustments. They played a zone, which still I feel like is giving us fits. Because you can't, in man-to-man defense, you can, and you know this, like, you know, you're playing man-to-man and you switch and everything like that. And then like whoever switches on you, it's like, oh, I got this person on me. Like, let me isolate, or let me take this. I'll take this matchup. In a zone, it's not so much things are switching and it's about matchup based. Zone is about finding the pockets. And again, I know you know this, like finding the pockets, breaking down the defense with penetration, and then also you have to be able to shoot. And that's one thing the Lakers, I'll just say over the course of the season, I feel like we've gotten better in the bubble, but over the course of the season, we haven't been a really solid shooting team. Like we don't have the shooting that like a lot of teams have.
Yes.
And so Miami, brilliant job going to their stingy ass zone. That's given us problems. So I think they're going to play that more. They went with us kind of like a smaller lineup because they put Hero in who can shoot, and Bam can stretch Dwight Howard out. And so that's why Dwight Howard, I don't know if he'll start. That's why he didn't start the second half of last night's game. We had Markieff Morrison, just because I feel like we need to get a little faster. Don't get me wrong, Howard had his moments, but like when they go small, it kind of puts Howard in a somewhat of a precarious situation because, you know, he's more like, he likes to bang and get physical and everything like that. When they go small, his lateral movement isn't there as much. And so Miami's going to zone up. Miami is probably going to put smaller people on Davis and hope that they can get him in foul trouble, draw some offensive fouls, because that's why we looked and were so bad game 3 as well, is because Davis got into foul trouble and then couldn't be aggressive because then he felt like he had to watch like his play, you know, because he didn't want to get fouls and whatnot. But so that's what Miami's going to do. I think Jimmy Butler kind of let his foot off the gas yesterday as well. He needs to continue to just be involved in every play, whether it's scoring or assisting. This would be a different series if Dragic, as we know, was playing. You know, he was playing some really good ball. Dragic's one of my favorite players. He can shoot, he can penetrate, he can pass.
He's hurt now.
Good. Yeah, he got hurt game 1, and he has like a torn plantar fascia. It's in your foot.
Did you make that up?
Somewhere in that fascia. But
does everyone have a fascia?
But we could, if we're gonna go that route, well, if we had Avery Bradley, series might be different as well. So
correct.
What I think the Lakers are gonna do is they have to limit their turnovers, man. Like turnovers, especially in like the first quarter or the first half, like they're just so sloppy. They have to come out and really set a tone, set a precedent, kind of like they did in game 1 and game 2. And I think LeBron is known for like what he's trying to do yesterday is get his team involved. And I think LeBron, all 4 quarters, it's got to be you assisting on many plays, if not scoring on all the plays. Like you have to have your hand in this, because they might even double team Anthony Davis and force everybody else to make shots. And if KCP's hitting, that's a bad sign for Miami.
But yeah, no, that's actually a point that I've noticed too. It's like I feel like LeBron at any point has the capability to take over a game, but I think a lot of times in like regular season, he likes to facilitate and get everyone involved and, run the
Or
team
pace
as a
himself,
team,
perhaps.
which is maybe pace himself, which is actually, it's really great and commendable to have that in a player. I'm starting to like really understand it and appreciate it. But at the same time, sometimes I feel like he will do that even if we're losing, and it's like that should just be something to do if like we're winning, or I don't know, but like if we're losing, you might want to turn it on and or maybe he's scared to be be called a ball hog. I know Kobe was called that for a long time. I feel like maybe he's nervous about that, or
I think he's trying to boost the confidence of his teammates to be like, hey, you have a role in this, and it's not just the stars, but Miami's going to be very dangerous on Friday because they're going to be desperate. Obviously, they're facing elimination in the finals. So even as gritty and scrappy as they are, they're going to be add desperate now to that jambalaya. And so
for real.
So now it's like, okay, we got to deal with that. We have to match their guts. And
what do you mean by that?
Again, they're going to be desperate. We need to be desperate.
Yeah.
And we have to match their guts. They're going to come out with everything on the line, and we should too, because more so than X's and O's and strategy, it's about opening your insides up and measuring one's heart and guts, and knowing that for the Lakers, you guys have a fucking championship on the line. You win and you're champions, man. For some of these guys, LeBron, it'd be your fourth. Anthony Davis, it'd be again, you're starting to carve out that legacy as a Laker, Rondo, you'd get your chance at another one. Guys Morris, who's been in the league a long time, Dwight Howard, who people wrote off. You have kind of younger guys too, like Caruso, maybe having a big role, Kuzma having a role.
Yes.
JaVale McGee, I know he's one. It would just what it would mean to overcome everything that's been thrown at the Lakers' way, this season and everything, and that's on the line. That's on the line, and so and you get to get the fuck out of the bubble,
especially too. I mean, they're professional athletes. They are quintessential competitors. They don't want to just get out of the bubble. They want to win their way out of the bubble. That's the thing too.
This is what you play for.
Exactly. And it's I know people want to say a lot of teams like the the Clippers maybe have, thrown the game on purpose to get out of the bubble, but it's that would just go against any true competitor's nature. And I'm not even a professional athlete, but I can be competitive sometimes, and I wouldn't want to do that. I'd want to win my way out of the bubble. I would.
And I hope that's not the argument for the Clippers to what, not criticize them as hard, because they're well, they threw it. Clippers just threw it so that they could that makes them look more less
of an athletic team or a real team. Even
that's even. I don't know how to say it other than that's making them look like more bitches than just straight up losing to Denver in the way that they did, which still kind of made them look like bitches, to be honest with you. But if you're gonna forfeit, if you're gonna throw games and all that, or even throw that out there or dangle out there, and then that's even worse than blowing a 3-1 lead, blowing multiple double digits leads, losing to Jokic and Jamal Murray. I could go on and on.
And just choking in the fourth quarter of the last game they played as well. It was the classic choke. I don't mean to be rude, but it was a classic choke. And I mean, every team's gone through it, I'm sure, or players have gone through it. It's just a classic choking situation.
Kawhi Leonard was supposed to be the best basketball player, in the world.
That was
because he won with the Raptors. Somehow he's the best. Media and just, randos.
Drake. Probably Drake.
Yeah. Such a dinosaur lover.
Damn it, Drake. I know, right? Paleontologists love him. Oh man. Well, that's okay. So those are the adjustments. That should be interesting to see.
Yeah, the main one. So they're going to come out desperate. They're going to probably clamp down even more on that zone that gave us problems. Perhaps might double team Davis or like go small on him to try to draw fouls. And for us, we have to be so much more sharper. We have to be a lot like more crisp in just doing the little things of basketball, like our passes. Sometimes like we're just kind of like rushing and throwing it and like trying to be in a hurry to like. And then another thing too is like we'll just sit there and dribble at the top of the key. Like that's such easy defense to play, as you know. Like
Yes.
like on any level, that's such like if someone's just gonna sit there and dribble, it's like okay, I don't have to move. Cool.
Yeah.
Like, I can catch my breath.
Yeah, and you're
And
in
so
like
it's just the little things like limit turnovers.
Yeah.
You need to be sharper and just like I hate to say it, I know they're professionals, but fundamentals.
Yeah. It's easy to
And
lose in that professional, level. You think you know it,
Yeah.
but it's nice you got to revisit that every so often as an athlete because it's key. They're
Always.
fundamentals for a reason. That's your building block.
Yeah. And you got to match their guts because they're desperate and show everybody that you're hungry. Like you guys are NBA champions after like a victory. If you can do that on Friday, like that's what's on the line. Like for Miami, it's going home, obviously. And then for the Lakers, it's like, how hungry, how bad do you want this? Like close this out on a Friday night.
Yes.
I mean, Friday night, like, we bring the weekend, like, so we can celebrate all weekend.
Yeah. Any comments on the baseball playoffs or the WNBA finals? Now, I'll be real, I haven't myself been too familiar with either, but I do know
Seattle Storm won again. Sue Bird, like everyone talks about LeBron in his 17th season, thinks Sue Bird's in her 18th.
Damn, really?
And she's been around. She looks like she's in season 3 or something. Like she's so spry. It doesn't look like her skills really have diminished at all. Like she won her 4th championship. I remember, so I would have been in high school when she was drafted, and I remember her name in the draft, and then here we are now, all these years later. She's still winning championships, and they have Brianna Stewart, who's the best player in the league. And what was cool in like the post game in that the Las Vegas Aces, who the Storm beat, like their best player was super emotional, looked like she was crying or whatever. And it's just cool because it's like it shouldn't matter where you're at or like kind of what the circumstance is. It's still basketball, and it's still like there's a championship on the line. And it's like,
yes,
we're not going to refer back to this and be like, oh, well, this, it's like, no, this is the champion for this year. And that's what the history books will say,
Exactly.
But, I don't think it was too competitive of a series. Seattle was just
dominating. I
think the best team all year. And they really have a team now, like up the street from me.
I know, gosh.
So
I will say Storm holds a special place in my heart because I played on Seattle Storm as a child in our local youth basketball league. And so they hold a special place in my heart, and I do love Sue Bird. From what I know, just her longevity is crazy. That if like 18 seasons, like you said, that's nuts.
Yeah,
nerd.
She's an incredible athlete, incredible basketball player. Like she should always get talked about when it comes to legends. Like she has a legendary last name when it comes to basketball, you can say.
They're not related, are they?
Oh,
okay. It's like, whoa. That would have been news.
As far as baseball goes, Happy Dodgers won last night.
Who'd they play?
They're playing Padres.
Oh, okay. San Diego.
And not so happy the Astros knocked out our Twins. And the Astros, man, bunch of fucking cheaters, as we know. But in that, I feel like we were talking about this the other day too, is like they developed a championship pedigree. So I feel like they can turn it on when they want. And so boom, turn it on. Well, Minnesota chokes anyway. So they turn it on, Minnesota chokes. So there goes Minnesota. And now Houston's playing Oakland. I thought Oakland had a decent season, but Astros are just
Oakland won today, so it's 2-1.
Oakland won today, so it's 2-1. That means nothing to me because I feel like Astros are just going to close it out.
Yeah.
I hate that team. And obviously, I'm not like.
You hate them more than the Clippers.
Do I hate the Astros more than the Clippers? Ooh, that's a topic. That's tough. Yeah, I don't know. I
got you stumped.
Someone likes a cheater, and they cheated and it got them a World Series. It's not like they cheated out of a game and nothing came of it.
What happened or how'd they cheat again?
They stole base signals.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah.
Stole base signals like from
in like a league of their own.
Yes.
Like bang on trash cans to indicate what pitch it was going to be.
Yeah. Oh. They rigged the World Series. They cheated the Dodgers out of.
So they
scared of the Dodgers.
The other team's signals and then got it. And you can't do that. Damn.
Yep.
How'd they do that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not in love with baseball. I'm in like with baseball, and so like that's why. But that's why for me to hate a team in baseball is like so rare.
That's why I'm shocked. That's why I'm like, I need to know how they cheated and what they did. And
yeah, man, they stole a championship away from the Dodgers. So,
Astros.
But I'm still just hoping for a Yankees-Dodger World Series.
That's possible right now. They're both in.
Yeah, Yankees are playing the Rays, Tampa Rays. And then, so on that side of the bracket, that's the Houston-Oakland series. And then obviously we're playing Padres. And then the other matchup is the Braves against Marlins.
Okay. Oh, so
Marlins beat Molly's Cubs.
So Giants aren't in it.
Bunch of eye rolls going on right now.
No Giants.
No Giants. No
Giants. That's cool. Makes me feel good. Sorry, Giants, but I've got my own personal beef. So I'll ask you for this week so far. I know it's a Wednesday night, but so far, what and we'll say week like from last Wednesday to this Wednesday. Who would you give the underrated player award to in any sport that you saw? Who is not getting the credit that they should be getting? Who's not getting talked about in the way that they should be getting talked about right now for their good performance?
It's Carson Wentz for the Philadelphia Eagles because his whole fucking team is hurt. His line is hurt. So like there was, when your line is hurt, that means the defense is playing against their top pass rushers. Their defensive line are playing against. It's so hard to assemble a quality offensive line in football. We're talking massive human beings who are also athletic. Yeah. That's hard to find. So that's why like most NFL teams don't have a quality offensive line. It's mediocre at best. So when you're the Dallas Cowboys and you do have a really good offensive line, or the Pittsburgh Steelers and you do have a good offensive line, it really does wonders, man. Or like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
So Carson Wentz, his offensive line is basically all hurt. So now teams' top defensive linemen are going against like B or C level offensive linemen, and with that, they're able to push those guys right out of the way. So like, you say hike and the defense pushes the offensive line out of the way, which makes the safeties and cornerbacks, their job a lot easier on defense. Because it's like in the NFL, it's impossible as a cornerback or a safety to cover a wide receiver for like 8 seconds. The guys are too good. It's like, it's hard enough. But like, that's why in the secondary as a safety or cornerback, you love defensive linemen because you're like, dude, if you can get to their quarterback and at least rush him a little bit, like make him feel uncomfortable, I can cover this guy for about 3 to 4 seconds, but like maybe 5 seconds. You're asking me to cover him for like 6, 7, and 8. That's, especially 8. It's impossible.
Pushing it, yeah.
And so as a safety, you're like, if you can get to the quarterback, I'll cover the back end. And that's how the units work in on defense.
Okay.
And so Carson Wentz now not only has to deal with the defensive line coming to take his head off because his offensive line are all backups, all his wide receivers are hurt. So his A wide receivers, starting wide receivers, now he has like B or C level wide receivers, and they don't get open as well as A level wide receivers, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And so the defense it's so much easier to play the offense when they're shorthanded like that, just like overall, obviously. But Carson Wentz plays in an angry city known as Philadelphia, who like boo Santa Claus at game. Like, remember, I don't know if you remember in the 2001 NBA Finals, and Destiny's Child played at halftime. The Lakers were playing the Philly 76ers.
Yes, I
Destiny's
do remember.
Child was performing at halftime. And because one of the girls had a Kobe jersey or a Laker jersey, maybe it was Shaq.
Michelle. Yes. I do remember this. And then Kelly had the 76ers, and then Beyonce had both. She had like her.
Yeah, that's how I remember it too. One had a Laker, one had a Sixer, and one had like both.
So they booed
and
Michelle. She's like the nicest one too.
And the sole reason they booed him was because they wore a couple. And again, we know this. Like when the Vikings played the Eagles in the NFC Championship game a couple years ago, they're throwing beer cans at our fans and stuff like that. So Carson Wentz has to wake up to all this criticism that he's trash, this and that. He doesn't have anyone to throw to. He doesn't have anyone to block for him. He's got to do this all by himself, basically. He just went on the road and beat San Francisco on Sunday night primetime football. And the mental drain it's got to take on Carson Wentz to like not only like every day you wake up and it's like, oh, this person's out. Like I don't have anybody that I can like, I can go to war with. And then secondly, to hear your name just being trashed, like, throughout the media, the fans, on all these like first take shows, like all the sports, all the talking heads, like to just say like, you're not as good, you're overrated, it's just Carson Wentz is a really good player. And one day, like the stars will align for him and people will stay healthy and we'll really get to see this guy pop. I think he's super underrated. And I think he's to go on the road to San Francisco with no fucking team, basically. And I know they're hurt too, and Jimmy Garoppolo and stuff like that, but it doesn't matter. They're more healthy than Philadelphia. And I just really like Carson Wentz's game, and he's severely underrated.
Well,
so that was
he has no support
version of saying Carson Wentz. There's an old saying, like some quarterbacks have to, they're good in the right scenario with all the help. They have to be like pulled along or whatever. And then there's some quarterbacks that like they are good enough to pull the team along, kind of like an Aaron Rodgers who will just take anybody, it seems like, off the street and make them good, or a Tom Brady. You don't even know who these guys are, but then you do because they make him great or whatever. And that's Carson Wentz. He's one of those guys. Like you won't hear, like, if you ever look at a Philadelphia box score within the next couple of weeks and you won't recognize, like their main starters, like Deshaun Jackson, wide receiver, Alshon Jeffrey, like the rookie they just drafted, like they're all fucking hurt. It's unreal. It's unreal. But somehow Carson Wentz is the problem. That's what you'll hear. That's the narrative, is Carson Wentz is the problem. So
interesting. That's weird they don't take in all those other factors that might make a difference. But
they'll be like, well, Tom Brady. It's like Tom Brady had Belichick. Rodgers actually does have really good players. Like Aaron Jones, his running back, is really fucking good. Like Devontae Adams, I mean, he's hurt right now. He's not always hurt. Is really fucking good. Like it's just
when you have no help. If Brady had zero help, even he wouldn't be, what he is. You got to have a little someone to catch the ball, to run the play, to do their job.
Everybody needs help.
Yeah. Do you want to close it out with any fantasy football talk?
Yeah, I would say the pickup of the week as it relates to injury. I'm not even going to give people Kareem Hunt because my boy Nick Chubb got hurt and is going to miss some time. I would assume Kareem Hunt is already picked up, so that doesn't really count. I would say due to injury, Austin Eckler just got hurt for the Chargers. So his backup, Joshua Kelly. Joshua Kelly will be the best pickup injured, to replace an injured player. The best pickup overall, like if they're available, in my opinion, is there's 2 rookie wide receivers out there and we're going deep in the free agent pool. So if you have like a 10 or 12 team league, then you really, really have to take a look at, his name is Levinsky Chevault, and I may even pronounce that wrong. I don't know. He plays for the Jaguars.
What position?
And he's wide receiver, and he's a rookie, and he's creating a role with the Jaguars. You can't, again, it's fantasy football, so I get the Jaguars aren't very good, obviously, but, they're still a pro team collecting paychecks. There's still pride, and someone has to produce, someone has to gain yardage and actually play the game. And so by way of that, you're going to have points. So Chenault, wide receiver, Jaguars, look at his numbers, just picked him up. I'm excited about him. There's also a guy on the Bengals named T. Higgins, another rookie wide receiver. Okay. And he's emerging as Joe Burrow's one of his favorite targets.
Okay.
And
that's huge in fantasy.
And to be honest, a lot of these rookie wide receivers, if you don't have one of them, you better get one, because you have Jerry Jeudy on the Broncos. He is looking really good. You have Justin Jefferson on the Vikings, who's starting to emerge and starting to make us be like, Stephon who? And then you have this guy on the Cowboys named CD Lamb. CD Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Is this about Mary Had a Little Lamb?
He is a rookie. CD, by the way, is not just the initial CD. It's CEEDEE.
Oh, okay.
So CEEDEE, Mary Had a Little Lamb. Wide receiver, rookie for the Cowboys. He's starting to pop as well. It was a really good class of wide receivers this year.
Yeah, damn. All rookies you mentioned too. So
yeah.
I don't know what's going on, but that's exciting stuff.
So get your hands on, I assume those guys are already picked up. If they're not, get your hands on one of these rookie wide receivers and ride it out. Like they're really they're special crop.
Nice. Anything else you want to say?
We're gonna go get our championship on. It can be better. It's a Friday night. We're wearing the Mamba jerseys. I'll do a segment on that.
Yes.
I feel like we'll do a segment on that afterward. I don't want to go too much into that right now because of reasons unknowns to you.
There's some earth, wind, and fire reasons.
But champagne the campaign, man.
Hell yeah. Well, exciting stuff. Next episode we'll definitely be talking about after this game, hopefully a finals win as Laker fans. So thanks everyone for listening.
Hopefully I'll have my circle around my mic, even if I have to hold it. I just want the circle part.
Yeah, I know. I can feel the envy. Oh man.
All right, cool. Segments will develop as we carry on. I have some ideas as well, and
we're going to be growing the format, and we definitely want to hear from you guys eventually. I'll be setting up some an email at some point, some social media pages, of course, and we definitely want to build this podcast and this channel with everyone, and want to talk about things you want to hear us talk about, and
things you want to hear us maybe debate on or debate the popular general consensus, we
Quality
can definitely find
topics,
that.
quality conversation, just to have fun, make you think, make you laugh. And overall, it's just, just an outlet, for people to come to and just get lost in good content. And I mean, that's the reason everyone tunes into podcasts, but it's ours. We just want to be authentic and provide perspective and, give you a few laughs while doing it and, just be here to be light. And there's so much heaviness in the world. So we just want to be light and fun and goofy on occasion, silly, and just have a good time.
Yes, so we'll be going through this lockdown and post-lockdown together. But thanks for listening to episode 1. You guys are officially our ride or dies. So thanks, everyone.